Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is part 2 of dreams. I have this fuck-ass pimple right here. So just ignore that if you can. Whatever. Okay, so I ended up finishing that book, Dreams and the Key to Self or something, I don't know. But it went into like the whole concept of like anima and the shadow and stuff like that. And I didn't really learn anything new. So I don't have anything brand new fresh off the brain to tell you, but I do have more to talk about regarding dreams. So I guess what is the point of dreams? I think I might have talked about this before. I don't know. But basically, my understanding of what dreams are is it is your brain's way of understanding yourself or understanding an anomaly in your emotions. So throughout the day, you obviously experience so much, and there might be like a recurring feeling or a recurring emotion, or maybe a new event that happens that kind of changes you in some way, and you don't consciously think about it. It just kind of happens unconsciously. You don't kind of ruminate on it or try to understand it. You just kind of push it away to forget about it, or you might not even notice it consciously. You would just pick up on something subconsciously. But the point is, it becomes part of your soul, part of that soul making process. And so your dreams kind of exist as your brain's way to kind of understand or freely express that emotion that you felt. So the conscious world that we experience every day is bound by all of these rules and systems where you're very restricted in how much you can like express um, emotionally. And this is not only restricted by your physical body and your ego and your like your very realistic way of thinking, but also societal influence and maybe family influence, whatever. But the point is, when you're awake and you have your ego kind of stopping you, you're unable to kind of freely ruminate in something that you felt that was real. So when you fall asleep and you dream, all of those kind of walls that you put up disappear, and you're kind of in like this simulated realm where there's no limits to anything. There's no grounded thinking. So you're able to then experience these things to their greatest potential. And yeah, like the way I think about it is kind of like let's say you get a toy that you want to play with, but when you're inside with the toy, it's kind of hard to play with it because you don't want to knock anything down. You don't have that much fun because you're unable to play with this toy freely. So you go outside and you have this great big backyard and you're able to play with this toy and use it to its full potential. That's how I see dreaming. It's this kind of playground or garden for you to kind of understand deeper things that you don't consciously figure out. And this is all, I guess, a subconscious thing. Like, the point isn't to remember your dreams necessarily. You could go your whole life without analyzing one dream and you would be fine. That's like kind of a next level thing. But in my opinion, I think it's vaguely kind of unnatural. Dreams aren't necessarily something you need to analyze. A lot of dream analysis nowadays, they kind of have these set in stone images and what they mean. Like your teeth falling out, it means you're anxious about something or something like that, where we kind of have created meaning about these symbols. But if you look at it from a more logical perspective, that wouldn't really make any sense. You have to analyze dreams from the perspective of what you know only. So only you can analyze your own dream. Because something like a bird, for example, like a hawk could mean something completely different to you than it does to someone else. So you need to kind of go off what a hawk means to you and what a hawk is associated with. And when you think about it from that perspective, a hawk no longer means like something stalking its prey, but rather a hawk reminds you of like your great grandfather or something like that, or a specific memory. And that's the kind of basis for where you need to go with analyzing your dreams. So not trying to kind of figure out what something represents in the greater picture, but rather what it means to you. And to not kind of create new meaning out of the dream, but to rather just figure out what it means in and of itself. And that nuance is kind of hard to wrap your head around. But like, for example, if you have a dream that a friend betrays you, instead of analyzing the dream as, oh, maybe someone in my real life is trying to betray me and my mind's trying to tell me, think about it as you already feel betrayed. You already feel like someone has betrayed you, or like that you have been betrayed, and that is a real feeling that you experienced. And then instead of like seeing it as, oh, it's trying to tell me something, like has already told you something. That is telling you something. The dream is the analysis. The dream is the analysis of your waking life. And I guess that makes a lot more sense to me. I also look at dreams as like us connecting to spirit, and spirit, I mean, I guess God, or the furnace of creation. And that as well is healing, just as it is, even if it doesn't mean anything. I think just kind of putting your brain in that state, I think, is very healing for a lot of people, especially people who are very grounded in their real life, who don't do any art or create at all, and kind of neglect that intuitive and emotional side to them. I feel like if they didn't dream, their lives would be like, I think quite mundane. I think it kind of balances it out. I'm curious if there's a correlation between people who have grounded lives having more fantastical dreams, or people having whimsical lives having more grounded dreams. But the last thing I want to talk about is prophetic dreams. So these are dreams where you have a dream and then it comes true. I don't think this means, I think this is definitely a thing, but I don't think every dream is prophetic at all, no. I think they definitely can be though. And it's this whole belief that dreams can come from you, or they can come from an external place. And being able to discern them is important. This is something that's in a lot of religious things, even Christianity, where they teach you to discern dreams between the devil and dreams from God. But in a more grounded sense, that would mean, I guess, dreams that come from a good place or a bad place, blah, blah, blah. But prophetic dreams, I feel like we definitely have, whether it's just us or it is God, there is something that I guess is trying to teach you something, and that is, you can't really ignore. I've had a few dreams where I'll have a dream and it's the most random thing, and then the next day it'll literally happen. And that's kind of insane to me. But it's proof of concept, I guess. Very cool. And I think some people are more intuitive to this kind of thing than others. But that's not really something I can explain, to be honest. And it's not really something I want to figure out either. I feel like a lot of things, what I'm learning now is a lot of things you're not really meant to understand. I think there comes a point where understanding it, in a sense, ruins it or makes it harder to be immersed in the thing itself. I think one of the main things for me was knowing how movies are made did definitely ruin watching movies, because you're no longer watching them from a storytelling and like being immersed in the film. You're looking at it from like a filmmaking perspective, and in a way it does ruin the magic. And I believe this to be the same with a lot of things, where so you kind of understand how dreams are made, how, like, why dreams happen and what they are and what exactly happens, but it ruins the magic and it ruins their purpose. So I think I've ended my research on dreams, at least for now. Yeah, cool. So that's dreams part 2. I hope you liked that video, and I'll see you in the next video when I hopefully don't have a pimple on my forehead.